Hey, I'm Mr. Park, and this is a quick overview of the American West course. And before we get started, there are three things you should know. One is the gradebook categories. So everything you do in this course is going to fall into one of two categories: assignments and assessments. Assignments are worth 20% of your grade. Assessments are worth 80%. So don't be fooled by this. If you have an assignment that's worth 100 points, and an assessment that's worth 20 points, the assessment is worth more than the assignment. If you miss a couple points on a 100-point assignment, that's not a big deal. You don't need to redo it. You're still going to get an A if that's what you're shooting for. If you miss a couple points on an assessment, it might be worth redoing. Depends on how many points that assessment was worth. So keep that in mind as you're working through the course. Assignments are worth 20%, assessments are worth 80%. If you are running out of time, you can make decisions about what you do in the course based on knowing this. Okay, the second thing you need to know is there are no penalties for submitting assignments late. So if you can't get to something, if you've got a busy week, something's going on in your family, you have a lot of work to do in other courses, you can schedule this work at a different time. The only thing I would caution you on is that don't wait until the end of the quarter to do all of the work. You won't be able to. There is quite a bit of work in the course, so I would say don't get more than a week or two behind. If you find yourself more than a week behind, then you should schedule some time, set aside some time to catch up in the course. The exception to that is the participation assignments, and you'll see that when we go over the course. Okay, and the third thing you should know is you can resubmit anything. So if you get a low score on an assignment or on an assessment, you can resubmit it. And again, if it's an assignment and your score isn't that low, I wouldn't worry about it. It's not going to hurt you. If it's an assessment, though, it's probably worth redoing. And again, there is an exception. The exception to that is exam. The exam for the quarter, you can't resubmit that. You only get one shot at it. And the participation assignments, you get one shot at those, but you won't need to resubmit them. Anyway, let's jump into the class. Okay, so we're looking at the course now. It starts with some orientation stuff. Hopefully you've already read through that. Hopefully you've already done this assignment. It's a quick one, and this quiz is also quick and easy, and you can redo it, so you're welcome to just open it up and guess at it. We're going to look at the actual coursework, though. So this course is made up of modules. You'll have about 7 or 8 modules per quarter. Every module is going to have an overview, and then it's going to have lessons. So this module has 3 lessons, and that's about what you can expect per module. In each lesson, you're going to be doing some workbook assignments. When you're finished with all of them, you'll submit them right here. And then most modules will have what I'm calling a CTA, just a critical thinking assessment, and it usually just asks you to answer a question based on information from all of the lessons. So it's asking you to synthesize or apply what you've learned. And then you'll have a module quiz, and the module quiz covers all of the lessons. So what you should know about the course is that each lesson has a quiz. The questions come from a question bank. The module quiz comes from the same question bank. So you'll probably see the same questions, at least some of them. The final exam comes from the same question banks. So if you're doing well on these lesson quizzes, then you'll do well on the module quiz. If you're doing well on the module quizzes, you'll do well on the final exam. So that's one thing to know. Another thing to know is just based on the layout of the module, you can understand what are the assignments and what are the assessments. So I've indented the assignments. So the lesson quizzes are assignments. The workbook is an assignment. The CTA and the module quiz are assessments. So 18 points, 18 points. Even though these are only 18 points and the workbook is 68 points, these are worth way more than the workbook. So if you miss a few points on the workbook, don't worry about it. If you miss a few points on one of these, you probably want to redo it. Okay, now let's just pretend like we're going through the module super fast. You won't go through it this fast. The module should take you a few hours, so break it up between 2 or 3 days. So you're going to look at the module overview. The module overview will kind of set you up for what you're going to learn in that module. You should read it. It's not that long usually. In fact, this is probably a longer one than normal. But whether or not you read it, make sure you download the workbook. So this is the workbook. It's a Google Doc. So I'm going to click on it. And it'll ask you to make a copy. I'm just going to view it, but you'll make a copy of it so that you can edit it. And it just looks like this. So it's just activities that correspond to the lessons. So you're going to download it, but you're not going to work on it yet. You need to wait till you get to the lessons. Also, you have a link to the live class sessions, which are every Tuesday and Thursday at 12:40. So the link is always going to be in the module intro. And then there will usually be a video overview if I've done my Zoom class. So I do that on Tuesday, and then I post the overview here. Okay, so let's go to the first lesson. So a lesson is always going to have an intro. And again, you should read it. It's not long, and it'll set you up for what it is you're supposed to learn in the lesson. And then the lessons will usually have readings and videos. In this case, this lesson's a little bit different. It's asking you to go straight to the workbook and work on some of those activities. And then there's a quiz. So you'll take the quiz, and when you're finished with the quiz, and actually here's what the quiz looks like. Okay. Let's go to the next assignment, or the next lesson. So this is probably more of a typical lesson. So again, an intro, a video to watch, something to read, and then a quiz. Next lesson, again, intro. This one's a short one. Things to read. I think this is this is something to watch, some things to read. And then this is telling you to complete the workbook activity. So then you would go and complete that workbook activity. Then you'd complete the quiz. Okay, so by the time you've done those 3 lessons, then you're also ready to submit the workbook. So you would submit that Google document here. And then you would work on the CTA. So this is just a question that asks you about Frederick Jackson Turner and who you would have learned about if we'd gone through the lessons. This tells you how you earn the points for this. So you'd work on that and you'd submit it. And then you would take the module quiz. And remember, the module quiz is just coming from the same question bank. You might see different questions because there are more questions in the bank than you see in the lesson, but only a few more. And sometimes there aren't. Sometimes the questions will be exactly the same. So you'll take the quiz, and then that's it for the module. I'm going to go back home. So the only other thing you need to know about this course is the participation points. So every week you have to complete a participation assignment. It shouldn't take more than a minute, and it's only worth 4 points in the assignment category. One thing to be aware of, these won't open up. So if I try to open up week 4 and do it ahead of time, it's not going to let me. Also, if I open it late, it won't let me. So this one might be too late. We'll see. No, it's not. But it will close on the 27th. So you'll want to complete those every week. So even if you don't have time to get in and work on the lessons, if you want those 4 points from the participation assignment, you need to do it before they close each week. And that's it. Good luck on the course. If you have any questions, you can message me in Canvas. That is the best way to communicate with me.